It is Lake Loop Day, and very similar to Bridge Loop, we have a loop that starts and ends in a parking lot. The trailhead is in front of me. The trail end is behind me. Let's go hiking. Lake Loop Trailhead. This takes us on an earthen dam. You'll see the lake here in a second, for which the loop is named. Lots of sediment filling in. Soon it will be a wetlands and not a lake. Lake Loop is home to many wildlife: ducks, geese, egrets, herons, huge turtles, and many more. Unfortunately, none of those wanted to pose for a drone photo, except for a lone duck, and I think you know what a duck looks like. Just past the dam, you'll see the trailhead for our backcountry trail. This is a 4¼ mile hike from this portion on Lake Loop to the end which you saw on Bridge Loop that we hiked last time. We'll hike backcountry in the next episode. We get very close to the lake as we approach the 1/4 mile point. There's point 25. The boardwalk that we're getting ready to cross was put in over 20 years ago. It has a few years of life left, thankfully. When it gets to the point of needing to be replaced, we will more than likely reroute this portion of the trail up to higher ground, because this would be a major effort in demolishing and rebuilding in such a lowland area. It floods frequently with high water, and surprised that it was put in the first place. Here's a little squirrel friend. Hello, buddy. Half mile. Three-quarter mile. We start a gentle climb. We are a third of the way around. There are a couple of triple trunk trees. They that grew together when they first sprouted, which may have been the case, or they just branched into three, don't know. But these two together tell me that it's time for the 1¼ mile mark, which is right here. If you can tell, we are starting the descent down to the lowest portion of this trail, which is the bottoms as we cross the creek. We're halfway around. Series of boardwalks and bridges to get us through the bog area. This can flood frequently. You may remember this intersection from when we hiked Bridge Loop. Coming down the steps, and this is the intersection. There's the suspension bridge, obviously. We're just going to walk it in the opposite direction. Here's the sign I showed you on the Bridge Loop hike. We came from Chicopee Lake, which is a little over a mile and a half. We'll continue this way. A little less than a mile and a half now, back to the parking lot. I've been to Logan 2 or 3 times now, and I interrupted her training because I wanted her to tell everyone. You're training for ultra marathon, I understand.
Yes, I'm training.
So why are you at Elachee?
I'm here to try and get in, as much mileage as I can. Elachee, I feel like, is a great place to get some elevation. So it's got some hills, but also the loops are very accessible. So you can make it as short or as long as you want it to, or you can just do the same loop over and over. I feel like everyone at Elachee takes really good care of the trails, and there's a lot of other people out here, so I always feel fairly safe running the trails. And not a lot of critters either, which is good. I haven't seen a lot of spiders or snakes or anything like that.
How far do you normally run?
On my long runs, I'm averaging about 14 miles right now, and then on my shorter runs, I do around like 6 to 8.
Well, I like your hat. Tell me about it.
And I thought this hat was really cool because it's yellow, which is one of my favorite colors, and it says go one more. So when I'm running and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna stop, this hat reminds me, if you can just go one more, then you'll be good to go. That's
fantastic, Logan. We're really glad you're out here, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you, thank you.
As soon as we make the hard left here, we'll be at 1 3/4 miles on Lake Loop. And we share it with Bridge Loop for 4/10 of a mile. This is one area I forgot to show you when we hiked Bridge Loop. Just a few feet off the trail, you're going to see rocks that were the foundation of houses, back in, we think, the early 1900s. You can probably see the rocks here. This is the only thing that's left of the structure. They had some sort of settlement around here. There's one right here. You can follow my pole. One right over there, and one right over there. There was a road that came on the other side of this hill, probably an old logging road. And then they had the access to the creek that we just crossed at the suspension bridge. So some sort of a settlement. Don't have the history behind it, but I find it interesting since it's so close to the trail. There are a couple of deer up ahead. I don't know if they'll stay put until you can see them or not. I'll try to zoom in. Oh, he's getting a little bit curious. Look at here. These deer are becoming less and less frightened of humans, which is not necessarily a good thing. But he's becoming, or she, is becoming very curious. Here's the 2 mile point. Coming into the intersection where Bridge Loop will depart, we'll continue on Lake Loop. Two and a quarter. Here's one of the prettiest parts of the hike. Beautiful outcrop, 3 layers. Should be able to see the boulder we're going to walk across, Natural Bridge, here in just a second. This is called Boulder Rock Creek and aptly named. Two and a half miles. This tree is one of our landmarks on Lake Loop. Our naturalists tell us it's a virus that caused all these bumps, humps, burl wood, whatever. But you can see, so there's a spiral all the way up to the top. Very odd. What do you think it is? And here's a portion of the trail that very abruptly changes from hardwood to pine. You can see it because of the pine straw on the trail, but you can also see it by it's just predominantly pine. A few hardwoods scattered in, but mostly pine. And in just a moment, we'll go right back to hardwood. And as you see now, mostly hardwood. I find that interesting. One quarter mile to go. One last bridge to cross. That may have been a movie name. Looks like we might be coming up on a parking lot. And here's the 3.0 mile marker on Lake Loop. We've completed the hike.